Alright, what is up folks? Welcome back to another video series here. Today we're going to be doing something a bit different, but it's going to be fun. Green-White Emeria is a deck that I kind of brewed up myself, and it's for a new series that I'm going to try to do is basically brews, right? And brews can do well, brews can do poorly, but basically we're going to run a brew of a deck through 3 matches and see how it performs, right? But the idea of a brew is to build it kind of almost from scratch, not necessarily from scratch, but the idea is not to take a deck that's already, made, but to try a deck that either hasn't been tried very much or hasn't been tried at all. So this is me working with my own brain to try to construct a 75 that I think is reasonable for an archetype that doesn't really exist, right? But sometimes you do have to kind of use some background knowledge to arrive at these brews. So essentially Green-White Emeria is based off of Blue-White Emeria, but instead of blue, you're adding green. Now you obviously need white to take advantage of the card Emeria the Sky Ruin. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So obviously you need a lot of different planes, so we have 7 planes, a Scattered Groves, and then 4 Temple Gardens, and then 4 Field of Ruins that can find us planes, and then 4 Windswept Heaths that can find us, planes as well. So the only really non-planes cards in our deck are going to be Forest and Emeria the Sky Ruin. And essentially, we try to get to the point where we have, 8 mana, and then we're going to recur all of our cards and just take over the game that way. So that's the goal of what an Emeria deck tries to do. But this time we're going to be adding green to it. And why am I adding green? Because Blue-White Emeria was sometimes just a tad too slow. And what I mean by that is it took a little bit too long to actually get to the stage of the game where you're taking over. What we have in a green shell is ramp. Now green is known for providing ramp, but we do it in the form of Secure Tribe Elder, which lets us search our library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So it lets us get 4 mana on turn 3, which means these sweepers are live, because sometimes a turn 4 sweeper is just a little slow. So this lets us accelerate that out, and it also means we could have Emeria going as early as turn, I guess like 7 upkeep, with just 1 Secure Tribe Elder. Obviously if you have multiples, you can accelerate that even faster. Now we also get a card called Elvish Rejuvenator, and when I saw this card spoiled in M19, I was like, God, there's got to be some home for this card. And honestly, I will say that this whole brew experience kind of started from me just wanting to find a way to build around Elvish Rejuvenator, and this is kind of the only thing I came up with. I was like, maybe Tron wants it, but Tron has way more consistent ways of doing this. Elf doesn't want it. Elf don't really care about mana, even though it has the elf creature type. It doesn't really do anything for that deck. So I was like, where can this deck fit where it actually, is helpful in some way? And I came along this deck here, and I thought of it, and I was like, you know what, this is perfect. So we have 4 Elvish Rejuvenators. When you look at the top 5 cards of your library, you may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap. This lets you look at the top 5 cards to more consistently not only find Emeria, but to more consistently enable her, right? Or enable it. It's a land, I believe. I'm actually not sure. Emeria the Sky Ruin, I'm not sure. But the point is, you're able to not only just find Emeria better, but also accelerate towards it faster. Then of course we got some sweepers here to go in the Green-White Emeria shell, because what's really great about Green-White Emeria is you're not only just getting this recursion engine, but you don't care about your own creatures dying, because you have this recursion engine at the end of the game. So you can pretty aggressively play like 3 to 4 sweepers in Emeria, which is really nice. But I think that's going to cover basically what the green is adding to the deck. But in terms of actually enabling Emeria. But now that we're also in this like green lands matter type deck, we get access to a card like Tireless Tracker, which is an incredible win con, as well as a card advantage engine that you can get back with Sun Titan. And so even if you're not drawing your Emerias or anything, any of your card advantage engine like Sun Titan, you still have Tireless Tracker that can basically net you cards off of every land that you play. And with this deck, where Field of Ruin is basically a fetch and Windswept Heath is basically a fetch, we've got 8 fetches, and then we also have Secured Tribe Elders and Elvish Rejuvenators that can also create clues for Tireless Tracker. So it's this way to turn our lands matter cards into other cards that might matter, and that's what Tireless Tracker is so great at doing. So I really, really like Tireless Tracker in this deck. I think it's a big reason to be green as well. And then of course, we're ramping. We might as well ramp it to something that just shuts down aggro decks even more, and that's what Thragtusk does. It's just great. It's great against humans because if they even bounce it, you still get a 3/3, and eventually you'll replay it and gain another 5 life. And when you wrath it, it leaves something behind, and then eventually you bring it back with Emeria. So you can just endlessly chump with it and actually just get net value off of it. So that's what I really like about Thragtusk. It's you know, a little bit higher on the curve, but we have a lot of ramp to make Thragtusk come out earlier than, you know, turn 5. And then we have the 4 Flicker Wisp, because that's just the best card in an Emeria deck. It comes back off of both Sun Titan and Emeria, and it replays basically your Enter the Battlefield effect. For our Enter the Battlefield effects, we have 4 Wall of Omens, 2 Lone Missionary, we have Elvish Rejuvenator. We can even pick up our own lands to get a clue when they enter the battlefield back at your end step with Tireless Tracker. Thragtusk is obviously a card you can target with Flicker Wisp as well as Sun Titan. So you get a lot of things going on here. You can even target Oblivion Ring to reset whatever you originally took with Oblivion Ring. And so there's a lot of things going on here. Then I have this one flex spot of getting into the trials until end of your turn, prevent all combat jam, target permanent with deal, and then you can also be a creature for its 0, and then also for its 0, you cannot lose the game. So that sometimes comes in handy against burn decks or combo decks. And what's nice is you can get it back with Sun Titan. That's why getting into the trials is pretty sweet. And then of course 4 Path Exile, just the best white removal in the game. So we covered the main deck here pretty quickly, but essentially I wanted to build around Elvish Rejuvenator and Emeria the Sky Ruin, and this is what I came up with. It's a green-white Emeria shell, and that's going to be our deck for our little brew series here. I haven't decided even what I'm going to call it at the time of this recording, but I'll probably decide by the time that I upload this. But essentially it's going to be a series where all I do is brew, okay? And maybe one day we'll get to the whole deck building aspect of it too, but for now I'll just come to you ready with the deck built, and I think that's just going to be a bit more enjoyable, at least until I figure out how I'm going to do this exactly. But let's go ahead and talk about the sideboard. We have 2 Remorseful Cleric as our sideboard graveyard hate, which we can get back with Emeria and Sun Titan. We have 2 Stony Silence, great against artifact based decks. 2 Ruin Halo, great against combo decks, which we probably would not be so great against. Ghostly Prison, because there's going to be those blisteringly fast creature decks that you just can't slow down with like a turn 4 Wrath, where Ghostly Prison just comes in handy, like Bridgevine, for example. Sell the Wreckage, an exile effect against creature-based decks that go wide. Just really helpful against Hollow One, against Affinity, against Bridgevine. A whole bunch of different decks with Settle the Wreckage is great. You have a Baneslayer Angel and a Lyra side by side, great against, again, creature decks where they might not have removal post board. Excuse me, we have 2 Reclamation Stages as well, great against artifacts and enchantments. I found myself, when I was testing this deck previously, a long time ago, that I was having trouble dealing with some kind of non-creature permanents, and so Reclamation Stage comes back with Emeria, and you can also deal with all those permanents, like Rest in Peace and all that kind of stuff. You have 2 Damping Sphere here as well. Try to hate against Tron, and then 1 Crucible Worlds to help you replay your Field of Ruins, and I guess your Windswept Heaths too. But mostly it's just for the Control Mirrors and for Tron. Or other lands matter decks. So I think that's going to cover the deck tech here. So stick around, we'll do 3 matches with this deck, see if there's anything we can think of while we're playing that could be better, and then we'll come back for some closing comments at the end. So stick around for the first match, and I'll see you all in just a few moments. Okay, welcome everybody to the first match here with Green-White Emeria. We lost the die roll, but we have a pretty reasonable keeper, right? If we hit our 3rd land, we will be in good shape, but we still have a 2-drop to play. None of our, acceleration pieces, like Secure Tribelt or Elvish Rejuvenator, but, this could be a matchup where Lone Missionary is great. And if it's not good enough, then hopefully the other cards in our hand will if we hit a 3rd land. Opponent's going down to 5 here. They kept on 5, and they scried to the top. Alright, Dragon Skull Summit. So, this could be a couple different decks. My first guess is Mardu Pyromancer. I'm going to save this fetch in the case that we end up playing it with Tireless Tracker. I'm also going to save it in case we need to fetch up another basic Plains or a Forest in the face of Blood Moon. Alright, double Dragon Skull Summit. Interesting. What's more important for me, getting my basic forest out of my deck or playing Flicker Wisp under Blood Moon? So obviously Tireless Tracker is useful in a long game, but we have more planes in our decks. Yeah, I think basic forest is just going to be, it's really awkward, but I think Mardu, you know, plays 2 to 3 Blood Moons these days. It's just going to be really important to not just lose to that card. And even though it means it's going to slow down our Emeria the Sky Ruin, I think it's worthwhile. Alright. Okay. So far so good. I think we start with an attack. Not really interested in playing out Tireless Tracker here for no value. I think we'll just get this Elvish Rejuvenator out here. You know, work towards hopefully finding a land in the top 5 cards of our deck. And that way we can maybe next turn play Tireless Tracker plus a land plus Sakura Tribe Elder and then just get 2. Wow, whiff. What are the chances for a whiff? My god, there's 21 lands in our deck. We look at the top 5. That just... terminating my Lone Missionary, I guess I'm happy with that. Alright, now we got a land, so... Well, maybe my opponent kills my Elvish Rejuvenator. Alright. They don't do it. They don't do it. Alright, that's okay. Let's just go ahead and play Tireless Tracker, get our 1 clue out of this, which is going to be quite useful against a deck like my opponent's, I feel. Alright, sure. So this looks like Mardu. Definitely, I guess it doesn't have to be Mardu, but this feels like Mardu. Alright, that's another land, which is really nice, because it means we'll be able to cast Sun Titan in hopefully next turn. Yeah, we'll definitely be able to cast it next turn. Interesting. Alright, my opponent takes 1. I think I'll go ahead and play the Flicker Wisp here. And then we can still play Sakura Tribe Elder. If my opponent wants to kill the Elvish Rejuvenator in response, they can feel free to do so. Alright, they choose not to. Hopefully this time we get a hit with that Elvish Rejuvenator when it comes back. And we get to play towards this Sun Titan next turn, which will be great. Alright, let's get a hit here. I don't think we've shuffled our deck since the last... Wow, almost missed, but we got the perfect. Got the Emeria in the top 5. And now we got 6 lands. What's nice is we can even beat a Ensnaring Bridge, so if this is like red-black mid-range with Ensnaring Bridges, I'm actually going to hold on to this Sakura Tribe Elder, because it could be an extra clue for Tireless Tracker. I think I'll start with an attack, though. See if my opponent wants to kill my Flicker Wisp, maybe. Yep. Makes sense. My opponent could still have like a Terminate in hand right now, which would make this play a little greedy, but I think we're going to go for it. I think we'll just get our value here. My opponent has Double Bolt. It's kind of rough, but my opponent does not have Double Bolt, so I'm going to get back Tireless Tracker and then say go. And again, I have this to fetch here at any point, but I don't even have to. Right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is exactly lethal. 7, 10. Yeah, this is exactly lethal. So my opponent has to do something. Of course, they never hit land 4. I imagine either they were missing white mana as Mardu, or missing land 4 for their planeswalkers as like red-black mid-range. That's going to be my guess here, but can never really know. Again, if this was Mardu, I would feel really comfortable siding in these Remorseful Clerics, but again, we can't even say that for sure. Still, it might be better than something else we got going like Lone Missionary, so I'll leave them off to the side here. I have a feeling my opponent's not siding out Terminate because they saw Sun Titan. So Baneslayer Angels might not be great, but again, if it's Mardu, then they're still pretty good cards. Ghostly Prison is also okay against Mardu, but again, we just can't know. We did not see enough of our opponent's deck to make a really thoughtful decision here. Let's sort this by mana cost. So let's try to make a decision based on if this is Mardu or like Planeswalkers. So if this is Mardu, we probably don't want all of these Path to Exiles. Could probably cut a couple of them for Remorseful Cleric, and we can cut the Lone Missionaries for some extra creatures. We can keep the Sweepers because that's pretty good against Mardu, and Path to Exile isn't great except against Young Pyromancer and what's the other card I'm thinking of? And Bedlam Reveler. But I think maybe playing bigger is better in a matchup like this. Again, we can't be certain of the matchup, but I think in any fair matchup we're firmly in the driver's seat. Sweet, so now we have turn 1 Emeria, turn 2 Sakura Tribe Elder. Yeah, so that's a keep for me. Drowned Catacomb. Alright, now I have no idea what's going on. I wonder... Oh, let's just go ahead and play that. I could have played the Temple Garden and then fetched up a basic Plains. That's going to be, I guess, a little less painful if I want to play the Sakura Tribe Elder. This could be also some sort of Grixis Dragons deck, now that I think about it. Could be some sort of Grixis, you know, deck that has an unoptimized mana base. But now I'm definitely not really afraid of Blood Moon anymore. Opt. Alright, now it definitely feels like some sort of control deck. They scry to the bottom, sure. Interesting. So I feel a little better siding out my Path to Exiles, but my Sweepers aren't going to be great. Opponent did not find a third land, maybe. No third land. So I'm actually going to crack Sakura Tribe Elder here. That way I can play Tireless Tracker and then play a fetch. So turn 3 Tireless Tracker as well as triggering it is going to be pretty good. Hopefully they don't have like a mana leak here. Alright, well that's exactly what my opponent had. That's a shame. We'll play a Windswept Heath and say go. Next turn we can play Thragtusk, although again we might not want to run into a mana leak. See what my opponent has here. They shock the Blood Crypt into play. That's land number 3. Hypnotic Spectre. Alright, that's a magic card. My opponent is also on Brew Central here, Brew City. Oh, I think we just slam Thragtusk here. Probably discard our basic forest. Or is this at random? Oh, it is at random. Well, I have a feeling if we play Flicker Wisp, it's not going to survive. We saw Bolt, we saw Terminate, and my opponent has 5 cards in hand. So, well, alright, see, this is why I need a new chair. This happens every time on stream, and now it's going to happen while I'm recording as well. Let's get that out of the way here. Make the game screen a bit better here. Okay, Desecration Demon. I can beat a Desecration Demon. Alright, now we just have to hope not to discard Flicker Wisp here. Yeah, I'm not going to discard a creature. Although my opponent's going to get some decent card advantage here with Hypnotic Spectre. No! 25% chance. Dang. Alright, well, we're still going to build towards this Emeria, though, which is nice. Ooh, Oblivion Ring. Would I rather Oblivion Ring the Desecration Demon or the Hypnotic Spectre? Probably the Hypnotic Spectre, right? That card's really annoying. And this card I'll be able to handle as the game progresses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1 planes off. No. So unfortunately we can't attack into it right now. That's okay though. What's really interesting though, keeping this Desecration Demon in play, it's actually a sack outlet for Emeria, so I could like sack Thragtusk every turn and get it back every turn. Which is kind of cool. Alright, my opponent's gonna get aggressive. I wonder if they have a follow-up play that will make us get punished maybe for not, you know, for taking the 6, but I don't think there's many things that could punish us. I guess like a second Desecration Demon would be pretty good. Alright, that's a second Desecration Demon. So I'm thinking here, maybe I didn't want to fetch because that thins my deck of forests, or ooh, well, kind of like this now. Well, I can do this on upkeep. There's no reason to do this now. No. No. And now Secure Tri-Builder, I guess, gets to block if my opponent has some weird haste thing. But I think I definitely want to do this now. And I think I'd rather cut them off of blue. I probably want to hit the Watery Grave in case, I don't know, in case something. Alright, they don't use the mana. Plains. Cool. Alright, so we'll be able to get Emeria going next turn. That's going to be nice. Yeah, in case they're a Cryptic Command deck, I definitely don't want to... Yes. Alright, so I'll sacrifice Thragtusk. Maybe I'll even sacrifice the token that Thragtusk makes, because I'll get another Thragtusk next turn, and I can shut these Desecrations Demon down the whole game, all while gaining 5 life while I'm at it. That kind of seems just dumb. Yeah. My opponent's just not doing anything. And now if we draw one of our Wraths, the game is just over. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have like a disallow here. That would be insane, I think. Disallow my Secure Tribal. Although disallow my Emeria trigger would also be kind of dumb. But let's just get our Thragtusk back here. Let's just say always yield yes. Alright, now we're gaining some life. And Wrath of God. Do we hold it? Do we hold it for one turn? Our opponent's holding up mana. They could have like negate. They could have a whole bunch of different things. I think I'll just hold it for one more turn. When I know it's going to resolve. Because right now this Thragtusk just stabilizes this board. And I think if my opponent is a creature-based Grixis deck, then I'm favored. Alright, well, Glimmer of Genius. That's a good magic card. Alright, let's see how they scryed. They scryed, draw 2 cards. Oh, they went top. Well, I imagine one of those 2 cards is a land. Opponent looks like they want to hit some land drops here. What if my opponent's playing like Scarab God? Oh boy. Uh-oh. Nicol Bolas. Alright, now I'm glad I held the forest. Try target green or white creature. Okay. So we'll definitely sacrifice this beast. We'll take 7. Interesting. What we could do here... No, I think we just still get Thragtusk. I guess, no, like, yeah, not even Tireless Tracker seems good here. Alright. Sweep up this board. Still get something out of it. They could have another Nicol Bolas, but I kind of want to hold the Tireless Tracker for... hold the land for Tireless Tracker. It looks like this is Grixis Dragons, though. Okay. Bob Nixless Reignited. That's a good magic card. So I think at this point we just want to find another Emeria. Alright, my opponent's going up. I think I want to get back Tireless Tracker here. I want to start drawing cards, and Lyra is a pretty sweet pickup here. I think I will shock. I want to have as much mana available to me now, in case I'm going to cast 2 spells this turn. Another Wrath of God. That's not bad. And now we're just going to grind through this as best as we can. If Obnixilis wants to clear Lyra... Oh, they have a Fatal Push? Okay. That's not bad. Next turn, what we can do is get Flickerwisp back and target Oblivion Ring and target Obnixilis. Now, I wonder if my opponent has sweepers of their own. Now we can fight through sweepers pretty well. I mean, we have sweepers of our own. I wonder if my opponent has Kolaghan's commands. This is quite a brew fest over here. My opponent on Glimmer of Genius, Grixis, creatures with Deathmark from the sideboard to start target green or white creature. I'm worried about like an actual Nicol Bolas here. I don't know if I should be, but I am. I also wonder how many like mana leaks might be sitting in my opponent's hand right now. They're going for Read the Bones before using Obnixilis, because maybe if they find a removal spell, then they can tick Obnixilis up. I could see that. Alright, so it looks like maybe they didn't find a removal spell that could kill Lyra, but they could still find a Bolt. Alright, what do I want? If they have a Lightning Bolt, that really screws up my plans here to clear Obnixilis. So I think I just go for Thragtusk. I mean, I could have gone for the Flickerwisp on the Oblivion Ring, but my opponent letting me just untap with Tireless Tracker is kind of nice. Now we're going to get it out of Bolt range. Alright, looks like no Bolt. Wow, Sun Titan as well. Whew. I don't think my opponent can get back from that. If I can clear Obnixilis here... Oh, there goes Obnixilis. And if I had another Flickerwisp in the yard, I could actually save Sun Titan from a sweeper. But here I think what I'm gonna do is just get a Field of Ruin. Kind of like getting a Windswept Heath though. It's just more clues in case we'll have to rebuild here. Alright, opponent, what do you got for me? Guess I'm not really scared of like a Nicol Bolas. Hour of Devastation could be a card my opponent plays, but then Sun Titan lives, and then we just buy it back with... And even if Sun Titan dies, we buy it back with Emeria. I mean, how does my opponent get out of this? They're hanging on for dear life, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even Nicol Bolas, you know, the Planeswalker to gain control of my Sun Titan doesn't work. I guess it does, actually. We don't... I forgot that Flickerwisp is not in the graveyard anymore. So that could still work. At this point, I'm just thinking, like, anything could happen here, so... Opponent has access to 3 colors in the modern format. That can be a lot of different things. They could, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think what the scariest thing here for, like, a clearly fair, like, Grixis deck to do to me. And I can't think of anything. I really can't think of anything that could really scare me that much. Alright. Go ahead. That's a good place for my opponent to see my opponent start. They go to the bottom, they draw a card. So now they're down to 7 mana. What can Grixis do with 7 mana? Nicol Bolas, the other Planeswalker, the 7 mana one, to shoot down Sun Titan, I guess. Or see, the thing is, like, their spot removal is so bad because of Emeria. Ob Nixilis, sure. Guess they're gonna kill Sun Titan, I guess. They gotta kill something. Alright, kill the Tireless Tracker. I guess we say okay to that. We have 11. We have 14 damage on the board here. They could be holding up like a Terminate, though. Oh man, even the Flickerwisp. I kind of want to get Lyra. I probably should just get Tireless Tracker, though. In case I draw some more lands. Okay. So Windswept Heath. I guess I'll play it. The question is, do we send anything at Ob Nixilis? I don't think so. I think we just go for lethal here. Probably just get this Field of Ruin. Now we got all these clues. I think my opponent's dead. They don't have anything here. Yeah, I guess they were banking on maybe buying a turn, you know, to go with Ob Nixilis again, but you know, for us to kill Ob Nixilis and then they get another draw step. But I just thought, like, putting them up to the test right now probably is a fine line. And even if they kill one of my creatures, that's still 8 damage coming through, and then we have obviously Emeria to keep everything going, you know. So I don't know. I think that first match there went pretty well. I mean, we played against another, you know, a Brew. Definitely wouldn't call this a tier 1 deck, but I definitely wouldn't call the deck we're playing a tier 1 deck, right? So maybe this is the matchup we deserve, you know, for at least the first time around to see how the deck performs. But overall, you know, this is not the kind of deck you will face against, even, you know, at your local FNM. Most people at your local FNM will at least have, you know, a tier deck in Modern, whether that's like a tier 2 or 3 deck. Obviously, my opponent is on a completely other level. That's okay though. At least we had a little fun time with our deck here before we just get absolutely ravaged by the rest of the format. But that was the first match there in this brew series of mine, our very first brew series. So stay tuned for the second match with GW Emeria coming up real soon. Alright, what's up folks? Welcome back to the second match here with GW Emeria. Take a look at our opener here. We lost the die roll. We have Wall of Omens, but only one land, and I think this is leaving too many things up to chance to hit our next land. So I'll go ahead and mulligan down to 6. Hand is not great, but it's got more lands, so I think we'll go ahead and keep it. Scry a land to the top. Tron, eh? I guess we'll lead with Emeria. I think we need to find a Field of Ruin rather fast here. Alright, opponent doesn't have turn 3 Tron. That's good for us on the draw. Definitely want to find a Field of Ruin here. Interesting. So instead of getting Lone Missionary down, I think I want to set myself up to be able to use... I guess I could use Field of Ruin anyways if I drew it, but I'd rather be able to get a 3-drop down next turn. Something a bit more impactful than a Lone Missionary, which will definitely not pressure my opponent in the slightest. So definitely need a Field of Ruin off the top here. Opponent doesn't have a particularly powerful start though, so I think I'll just lead on Tireless Tracker here. And there's the Tron. So turn 4 Tron, still pretty good. Looks like my opponent might be paying for an X spell. Never mind, that's Nugan. So Oblivion Ring here off the top. Now would be nice. Field of Ruin. Alright, so they searched up, I believe it was Urza's Mine. So we'll go ahead and take out Urza's Mine. And now we can also play Lone Missionary. Alright. And now we can still hit Oblivion Ring and still be in this game. Although, Oblivion Ring staying on the board in the face of, you know, my opponent's Oblivion Stones seems... Alright, what? Did they just get that other one? Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. This is probably going to draw the concession from me if it's a Karn. World Breaker will also do it, I guess. I mean, I guess technically we can reset this, but we just need so many things to go right for us here that I think it's unlikely that we're winning this game. Again, I can reset Ugin, but what is that really doing for us? Our hand, a little too slow against what my opponent was doing. We needed that Field of Ruin right on turn 3, and even then my opponent was able to draw the redundant Tron piece. So, Crucible of Worlds, Damping Sphere, Reclamation Sage, and Stony Silence is probably going to be the bring-ins for this matchup. We probably want to cut our Lone Missionaries. Getting to the Trials doesn't seem that great here, although it's a clock. We probably want to cut our Sweepers, actually. Path to Exile is just a little bit better in terms of removal. So let's get our Damping Spheres in here. Crucible, Stony Silence. Now Rex Sage. Let's consider Rex Sage. Rex Sage can be good. Can take our opponent off of Oblivion Stone if they don't have the mana to pop it right away. Yeah, I mean, as much of a clock as Gideon is, these two cards... No, maybe Thragtusk. This is just not a Thragtusk matchup. Alright. Gideon comes down again a little bit earlier than Thragtusk, so... I guess I could trim like one Path to Exile. Would be reasonable as well. Well, the deck said, hey, here's the Field of Ruin, but it's not enough. Unfortunately, we need a bit more than that. Well, that's a Damping Sphere, so we're gonna snap keep this. Hope our opponent doesn't have like a Nature's Claim, an Oblivion Ring. It's good against O-Stone specifically. I think that's a good magic card. I think that's a good magic card. I know it means we're one less draw from hitting our 4th land, but I think it's going to be useful. Alright. No Nature's Claim one time. One time. Give me something good here. I mean bad. Alright, well they don't even have Tron, so that's good. Interesting that they play their land before cracking the star. I think usually you're supposed to crack the star first, then draw a card, because then if you hit the actual Tron piece, that works out pretty nicely. Alright, they're working towards Tron. Sakura Tribe Elder. I think I just play the Tireless Tracker here. It gets a bigger clock going first. And next turn we can still crack Sakura Tribe Elder as kind of like a land drop plus a clue. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have like Dismember. Field of Ruin. Alright, they're just going to Field of Ruin me right away. Oh no, do they have the... Oh wow, that gives my Tireless Tracker a clue at least. Oh, Ancient Stirrings, sure. They found... This was the Sylvan Scrying, right? So they found Chromatic Star. Some okay things going on here. Stony Silence. Is that better than Sakura Tribe Elder, crack it, get a clue, and also get our 4th land? I don't think so. Only thing Stony Silence is really stopping right now is like their spheres and stars, but it also stops my clues. And there's no Oblivion Stone, so the Oblivion Stone is going to be the most important card for this Stony Silence to hit. But alright, so they do have Tron. Alright, there's the star. I mean, maybe it was worth it, but I felt like we needed our fourth land. Ancient Stirrings, which means they can't really play another spell this turn because of Damping Sphere. Spatial Contortion. Alright, there's an argument for just getting Tireless Tracker out of Spatial Contortion range, right? It's our clock. Hopefully we can hit another land off of these clues, that way we can keep up Path to Exile. Fortunately, well, looks like we didn't hit it. But, again, out of Spatial Contortion range. Good to know about that. There's the Yours Is Mine my opponent played before. And now I feel okay just slamming this Stony Silence eventually. Sylvan Scrying. My opponent's going to work towards Wormcoil Engine or Karn here. 4-5. Yeah, this is their turn 5 on the draw. Alright, so again, would really like to hit some lands. Playing Sakura Tribe Elder. Oh, I think we'll just play Stony. Oh, we already played a spell this turn. That's not great. And if I knew I was only playing one spell turn, I probably should have played Gideon. Yeah, Damping Sphere is symmetrical. Important to remember. Now I need a fetch land if I want to win the game next turn. Through, you know, my opponent just slams Wormcoil probably. Yes, but at least we have the Path to Exile for that. The issue is here now, this ramps my opponent into... well, no. We're not quite there. We needed another land drop to do everything we wanted to do. So, gonna crack that, or gonna shock Thing is, I don't want to overextend too much into like an Ugin. Plains might be useful against. Stony Sounds might be useful against Oblivion Stone. Obviously, this means my opponent. Yeah, I think I misplayed. This game could have been over this turn. Instead, I'm giving my opponent an option. And this red here, what, could they even have like Fire Spout or something, or something else scary? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, but at least with the Stony Sounds, we shut off Oblivion Stone as an out. Fire Spout. They have double Fire Spout? Sure. Oh, plus Spatial Contortion. Fair enough. Yeah, they can't really play anything anymore. I guess we just start slamming Sun Titans. Get back. Tireless Tracker. Now needing 2 more removal spells. So they really need Ugin here. I guess Ulamog, playing towards Ulamog is also reasonable. I feel like if they had Ugin, they would have played it last turn. But maybe they were just saving Ugin for now. Alright. Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista keeps them alive. Alright, they just have the Ugin. Fair enough. Maybe they just didn't feel like they needed to use Ugin last turn. So they'll do -6 here. Gets rid of Stony. Gets rid of everything. And it exiles, right? Yeah. Jeez. Thankfully we have this follow-up Sun Titan. But now we could just lose to Field of Ruin. Yeah, we could lose to Ulamog if they have another land drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we just play the Field of Ruin. Get a Sakura Tribe Elder. And hope my opponent doesn't have Ulamog here. If they do have Ulamog, they'll exile the Damping Sphere plus Sun Titan, I imagine. Alright. Relic of Progenitus. Okay, that means no Ulamog unless they draw Nature's Claim. So that's good. I think. That means they've already cast a spell this turn. Jeez, I punted this game away so hard. Alright, another sphere. I'm gonna crack it for a green. Probably still looking for Nature's Claim. They're gonna kill themselves with Ugin. Alright. Well played, opponent. Well played. Alright, for this third game, we'll try to play a little less loose. Actually think through our lines a bit more. Probably want to cut a Path to Exile. Just have more threat density. Although Path to Exile is pretty important in dealing with Wurmcoil and Ulamog. I think this is fine. We've got 4 Field of Ruins, 2 Spheres, 2 Stony Silences to hope to hit this game. Just cross our fingers. Alright, that's a Field of Ruin and a Stony, so that's going to be a keep for me. Lead off with the Emeria. Hope my opponent doesn't have turn 3 Tron. Expedition map, okay. Could still have turn 3 Tron here. But the Stony Sounds looks like it's going to be live. Alright, I kind of don't want my opponent to know I have Field of Ruin, but at the same time, I don't want to thin my deck of lands. And I don't know how reasonable that truly is going to be, but... Alright. They need natural Tron here. And... Tron does that. Tron does natural Tron things. Wow, alright. No Tron. I almost don't even want to give them green mana. Almost don't want to give them green mana. And I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to play Elvish Rejuvenator here. Try to hit my 4th land. Jeez, this card is getting close to whiffing. I wonder if we're not playing enough lands. I wonder if maybe I could play 25 or 26 lands. Yep, that's another thing that doesn't do anything here. So Tron off the top is still a thing that could happen. I wonder again if that's something I should be playing around. If maybe I should just be developing my mana. Again, I don't want to give them green mana, but I don't want them to top deck Urza's Tower. So, kind of in an interesting spot here. I think we'll start with Wall of Omens. No land drops, so I would like to keep developing my mana here. No! Oblivion Stone doesn't do anything! Oh my god, yes. Jeez. This is just a roller coaster of emotions here. Guess I'd take a forest because I do want to be able to double spell. I definitely want to blow up this Urza's Tower. Like now. That way I can play a 3-drop here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and, worst case scenario, my opponent has like a Nature's Claim on my Stony Silence, so I think I'd rather just blow up, I guess, Expedition Map. Now we have a slightly faster clock in play. Only slightly. Alright, that's land number 4. Oh, their own Reclamation Sage. Oh no. Alright, there goes Stony. Which means this O-Stone is back online. But I am happy I dealt with this Expedition Map. Although now my opponent's hand, there's the tower. Wow, how the whole game can suddenly just change, right? Okay, well, let's get in there. Now we're just going to try to develop the board. Develop our mana. Oh, actually, we could, I guess, blow up the O-Stone? Yeah, that seems kind of nice, actually, now that I think about it. And now we have a reasonable clock. My opponent kind of needs, I don't know, an Ugin here to really clean up this mess. And they could easily have an Ugin in their hand, but looks like they're going to Ancient Stirrings first. Oh, God. Tron! Yeah, Tron. I'm just going to find, I guess, an Ulamog off of this. Worldbreaker, I guess that's also okay. X equals 3 here. Or 4 planes. Field of Ruin, that's a card. Tireless Tracker just dies, though, to Ugin, but I think that's okay. Let's blow up the tower. It lets them, I guess, crack Chromatic Star right now, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I'm playing around spatial contortion by doing that main phase. Alright. Don't tower me, bro. Bro, don't tower me. Alright, sure. There goes Tireless Tracker. Yep. No! Relic is really good against us building towards Emeria here. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 5 lands. Still no Tron. I guess Oblivion Ring wouldn't be the worst here. Damping Sphere would be okay, buys us some time. This Ugin's really going to be only ticking up for a bit, but definitely want to find an O-Stone. I'm going to start with Elvish Rejuvenator so I don't thin my deck of lands before I start cracking clues. O-Stone? I mean, O-Ring? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they're gonna be. It's forced to crack Relic. Oh, Damping Sphere, not the worst, not the best, but not the worst. All right, they cracked Relic because they know we'll be untapping with. All right, there's Tron. That's 7 mana this turn specifically. It's a good pickup for them. Really nice pickup. Oh wow, they just exiled. Sure, I guess they don't want me rebuying things with Emeria there. Alright, now if they have Karn, I'm in a pretty rough spot. O-Stone. O-Stone is good against Damping Sphere. It's good against Oblivion Ring too. Oh gosh. Well, I think I'm just gonna fetch Shock here. And this time I'm gonna crack clues first because definitely need something good here. Field of Ruin blows up Tron. 1, 2, 3. I think I still have a basic plains in my deck. Sure, they're gonna put a thingy on that. So this turn, Flickerus just dies to that +1. But then we get to bring it back, I guess, worst case scenario. Yeah, there's really nothing for us here. I guess I'll represent Path to Exile. Again, I kind of want my opponent to blow up O-Stone, and this insulates us from Tron for 1 turn. Sure. Oh, but I guess they have World Breaker, right? So that wasn't. Oh no, not like this. Give me something good. That's a magic card, all right. Now I think I play everything out here. And then I get back Field of Ruin, I guess. Look for another Emeria here. No, but at least we're thinning our deck. Although my opponent could just crack O-Stone here. man. I'm trying to think back, and I feel like maybe there was a point in the game where we could have won, but I'm not sure. Maybe I was... No, but then they top decked Tron, so I had to Field of Ruin. Now we're at least applying pressure to this Ugin in some capacity. Oh no. Do they just have spatial contortion? Yeah. Yep, that's the spatial contortion. Guess Flicker Wisp can now fight Ugin a bit, but they can just hold back World Breaker if they want to. They already have 4 forests. Usually they only play about 5. Ugh, that's such a bad draw. Such a bad draw. I guess we can't really attack Ugin right now. We'll blow up, I guess, Power Plant on their draw step. Although we could just blow up the Seagate Wreckage if we think that's how we're going to lose this game. Oh, they're putting fate counters. That's just the worst. I think I'll just blow up the Power Plant. I still think... No, they're at 8 mana. I'm just going to blow up the Seagate Wreckage. I mean, Ulamog would be kind of rough, but I'm not playing around Ulamog anymore. Not playing playing around Urza's Tower into Ulamog specifically. Alright, now my opponent's attacking. I guess I should block because they could blow up O-Stone at any time and just we lose our blockers anyways, so. Now we just need a few too many things to go right for us. A few too many things, I think. This Damping Sphere is not doing anything, again, because of O-Stone. Not sure what my opponent is tanking on here. Alright. Ping up with Ugin. Do they have a Karn or something like that? Rex Sage, blow up Damping Sphere. Alright, yeah. Is that the second Rex Sage? No, I don't think so. I guess that... Oh, no, yeah, that's the second Rex Sage. Wow, interesting. Maybe they're playing that over Nature's Claim. I wonder why. Okay, so that's one of the reasons we held this land in our hand. It's 710 damage. I think I'll shock anyways. Give myself the most opportunity to play something off the top. We're at 9 mana. We might want to use all 7 of our mana. Path to Exile. I mean, that's a magic card, alright. I guess I want to play out this Sakura Tribelder now. We're going to put a Oblivion counter, Oblivion Stone there. I think I'm just going to Path to Exile this now. I don't think they, yeah, Tron can't reasonably run more than 5 basics, so. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lands, so they still can't Ulamog us. Sure. Oh, but now they can, never mind. Yeah, here comes the Urza's Tower. And now they can Ulamog us if they want to. And I think we'll concede to Ulamog. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, we'll play it one more turn. We'll play it one more turn. Alright, go to 9. Definitely gonna block here. Although I guess I think like Path to Exile is really our only out anyways. Flicker Wisp. Alright, I think we're going to pack it in here. We got Tron. Tron did Tron things. We put up a fight. We put up a bigger fight than I expected us to. Our sideboard came in pretty handy in this game. You know, Damping Sphere, you know, and Stony Silence. But ultimately, if you just don't have enough pressure, you're going to have trouble. So we just didn't have enough pressure to back up those cards, and our opponent just drew out of it, right? They top-decked the Urza's Tower, forced us to use our Field Ruin, which gave them a green source, which let them Reclamation Shades the Stony Silence, which let them cycle all their spheres, and then everything blew out of control from there. So sometimes you don't always get there, but we put up a fight, and we'll reconsider our sideboard for this matchup in the closing comments. So that was the second match here with GW Emeria. Couldn't pull out a win there, but it's a good practice against a very tier deck in Modern. Anyway, stay tuned for the third and final match for this brew session. I'll see you guys soon. Alright folks, here we are back with GW Emeria for the third and final match. I actually had to take a quick break before I recorded the third match to pick someone up. And in that time, I thought, what would be a good name for this brew series? I really put some time into it, you know, a nice 30-minute car ride, and I came up with the Brew Trials. What do you guys think of that? The Brew Trials Episode 1, Green-White Emeria. I think that has a nice ring to it. That's probably what I'll call it. Let me know what you guys think of that name. I'm going to keep this hand. It's kind of greedy, but we got Wall of Omens turn 1. Sorry, turn 2. Work towards his Day of Judgment. Going to be probably okay against Hardened scales, although you're better off exiling sometimes their stuff rather than just destroying it. So they can also regenerate. The fact that it's not a Wrath of God might be pretty rough. And oh boy, opponents going off over there. They just need, and we're not hitting land. So we need to hit a land to kill this Inkmoth. That way an Arcbound Ravager doesn't just like kill us. Okay, that's a Walking Ballista plus a Thopter. I guess that's not the scariest thing that can happen here. I think we just have to Wall of Omens again and hope to hit a land drop. 24 lands just might not be enough for a deck like this. This is ridiculous, I think. Probably just want to discard this Elvish Rejuvenator. Although maybe Tireless Tracker is the correct one. I guess you could say I'm just a little frustrated, but we'll go ahead and block one. If all my opponent does is pump this turn, I think that's a pretty good use of our mana. Not a very good use of their turn. So I'm going to make them use their mana here if that's how they want to do it, or we just Sog up, you know, 3 damage. Just take 1 this turn. Now, no Arcbound Ravager is going to be pretty good for us. If we can deal with these man lands and then Wrath of God or Day of Judgment, the board, that puts us in a pretty nice spot. But, of course, we will need to hit some land drops. Oh, animation module. I guess that is a more efficient way to do that. I think we need to Path to Exile this Walking Ballista before things get out of control. I'm doing this now so I don't have to go to discard. So if we hit running lands, I think we could win this game. Otherwise, I would say that this game is running away from us here. Wow, they killed our Wall of Omens. We only took 1 and they didn't even... Huh. Interesting. They could just have another Walking Ballista. Yeah, I guess I'd evolution. Alright, now once Evolutionary Leap has hit the board, I think we're pretty dead. And a Steel Overseer. Jeez. They'll just always have gas. I think I just get a forest here, preserve my life total. As awkward as that might be for Emeria down the road, I just don't think we're winning this game if we don't. If we don't end up clearing this board. Yeah, this is not good. My opponent could rev up both Ink Moth and Blink Moth here, hit me for 4, 8, 12, and then I'm basically dead. Yeah. Hangerback Walker, sure. Jeez. Alright, without this evolutionary leap, this might be a game, but because of the evolutionary leap and the fact that they just top decked that Hangerback Walker, I don't even want to show them the fact that I have Day of Judgment in my deck. I'm just gonna go and scoop it up because there's very few sequences where we actually win this game. So let's take it to sideboarding. For this matchup, Rex Sage is fantastic. Ghostly Prison is reasonable. Sell the Wreckage is great. Baneslayer Angels and the Lyres are also great, and Stony Silences can do a lot of work. Rune Halo is decent, naming like Walking Ballista, but I don't think it's quite worthwhile. Probably want to cut Gideon. They could just go a little bit too wide for us here. Probably cut Tireless Tracker. This isn't a matchup where we're trying to gain card advantage. So I think Stony Silence are going to be probably some of the first ones to bring in, then Rex Sages, then finding room for these four. I still like Thragtusk. I don't think it's as good as the Angels, but I think it's still pretty good. Maybe we just trim one, then trim around the edges a little. This matchup just, we won't have enough time to like Elvish Rejuvenator into a bunch of lands, so I guess we keep in one Rejuvenator, keep in one Thragtusk, just trim around the edges. Make sure that the cards we play are low to the ground and castable. Just give us, we can just naturally find enough time to make it that far in the game and hit our land drops. Jeez, no hate. No hate pieces here. I still think I'm going to keep it. Alright, opponent going down to 5. It's always good for us. Always good for us. Yeah, for a second I thought I forgot to bring in Settle, but I guess I did not. In this matchup, I think I'm actually going to get the Scattered Groves out of my deck early because I don't think we're gonna have enough time to really get that going. So now we're just going to try to ramp towards a quick Sun Titan, and that's how we're going to try to close out this game. Oh wow, I just talked about getting Scattered Groves. I'm a dummy. Here we can use Sakura to block and then sack it to save some life. Sure. Get a Plains. I actually wouldn't mind this being a Tireless Tracker right now. Maybe I'm supposed to keep in Tireless Tracker. Cut all the Elvish Rejuvenators because this matchup is too fast. But I don't know. Is Wood Elves Modern legal? I wonder if Wood Elves is just better than Elvish Rejuvenator because it finds you a Temple Garden out of your deck, right? Because I don't think it's as basic forest, just Forest card. I wonder if that's just better. Well, we're gonna try to get a hit here. The fact that this can find Emeria is definitely nice, though. Just seems like 90% of the time we haven't been getting very good hits. Wow, there was Stony, Rex Sage on top of our deck. I'm going to go and shuffle those back in. But we do have a turn 4 Sun Titan here, which is not the worst. Definitely not the worst. We got these Field of Ruins to deal with Inkmoth Nexus. Oh man, now they can just eat the Elvish Rejuvenator. I guess that's okay. Although it is green mana, which is something they might have been looking for. Throne of Geth. Alright, that's scary. Ancient Stirrings. Alright, that's not a Hardened Scale. So let's see what they find, though. I think the fact that we're not under so much pressure right now is a very... Wow, they had to take a Forest. Although, Forest could be indicative of Karn in their hand. Alright, no attack. Interesting. Alright, now I'm going to get the scattered groves that I was mentioning before. Because I don't want to draw that, I believe. Okay, alright. Stuff is happening. Right, they do have Inkmoth Nexus here. Maybe I'm supposed to hold up Field of Ruin. Now I feel kind of silly. Can they kill me with... Oh man, can they kill me with Hardened Scales? They have Forest Unknown in their hand. Does Hardened Scales kill me? Hardened Scales. I think Hardened Scales is a kill. 2 Hardened Scales is 100% a kill. But I think 1 Hardened Scales is also a kill. Because Modular basically nets them 1, 2, 3, like 4 counters, I believe. So you sacrifice, that gets 2, and then the Modular itself gets placed, that's another 2, brings it up to 5. They can sacrifice one of the Inkmoth. No, but then they don't have enough mana to animate. No, they can animate it with itself. That goes to 7. Maybe they're a little off. They might just be a couple infect off of a kill here. Which would mean next turn we can go Field of Ruin plus Field of Ruin. And then we're pretty good on the board here. What we don't want to see is an Evolutionary Leap at this point. I think Evolutionary Leap would be really bad for us. Apologize if you keep hearing some squeaks. It was raining outside before and I still got my shoes on. Just gotta cross our fingers here that whatever our opponent musters up is not as good as Sun Titan plus Field of Ruin, because that's really all we got going for us. I wonder how many forests they run in their deck. It's gotta be, obviously it's at least 2, but I wonder if it's like more than 2, because that way Field of Ruin can just be Wasteland, and you know, not that Wasteland is good against a deck like this, but it's better than the symmetrical effect. Because we can go get 7 mana, play Field of Ruin, pay 2, then we'll have what, 5 left over, pay 2, 5. We can then cast even Flicker Wisp still, and then still attack with Sun Titan and do a whole bunch of things. So I think my opponent is just trying to figure out here, how do they beat a turn 4 Sun Titan? These are one of those moments when I'm like, yeah, I'm brewing here, I'm playing turn 4 Sun Titan, but like, what if I was just playing, I don't know, Ad Nauseam or, you know, Titan Shift or something? By this point in the game, if I had ramped this much, I'd probably just be winning. So sometimes I like to put that kind of stuff into perspective. Obviously, this deck is a bit more fair. It's a bit more grindy. If your opponent has disruption, you don't just fold to a single piece of it. So that's nice. But, you know, when we're doing kind of our own thing here and jamming our big thing on turn 4, which, you know, Blue-White Emeria could never do, then yeah, your mind wanders sometimes. You think, what, could I be doing something better with 6 mana? The answer is probably yes. But we're having fun. Game 1 we didn't have fun, you know, never saw those lands. But I wonder what my opponent is thinking here. They can't possibly be doing math at this point. They probably just walked away. And so I'm basically here talking to myself. Alright, Inkmoth. They tapped the Pendelhaven for it. Alright, double Inkmoth. I think that's really good for us. No Hardened Scales. There's no way they have enough here. Because this represents 3, basically. Okay, yeah. Sure. Are they just gonna go all in here? Sure. Put that on the oh man. Well, they do see this Field of Ruin here, right? And they know we have Sun Titan to rebuy Field of Ruin, so I do wonder what their play is here. I guess proliferate, they can proliferate my life eventually. So dealing with this Throne of Geth, sorry, they can proliferate the poison counters on me. So eventually we do want to deal with that Throne of Geth with like a Stony Silence or something. But right now, oh no, if something happens, we probably want to blow up the good one first. We know our opponent's still sitting on a forest in their hand, so. Alright, looks like they have a couple more basics than we anticipated. Alright, how many basics you got, buddy? How many? Alright, they have plenty of basics, so I think I'm going to stop going after them here. And now I'm going to try to kill my opponent. Rebuy a Field of Ruin such that more artifacts, sorry, more manlands don't kill me off the top. Wrath of God. Alright, now just apply more pressure. I could target Sun Titan, but I think I'd rather just target Wall of Omens. There's Emeria. So we do have enough alright, there's an Ancient Stirrings. Again, Proliferate can target players. Oh god. Hangerback is like the best find off of that. Animation module. Okay, so we need to kill our opponent basically in like 3 turns. Didn't they have 1 forest in their hand? Oh, Path to Exile. Oh no, but they have Throne of Geth. So Path does not seem that good. Interesting. Interesting. I think I'm going to Path to Exile here. They'll probably sack Hangerback for Throne of Geth. Proliferate on us. Yeah, target me. Jeez, this is scary. Now we just get in there. I think we buy back the Field of Ruin. Opponent blocks the Sun Titan, I imagine. They go to 9. Blow up the Pendelhaven. Alright, so that might have been a mistake because I don't know my opponent's deck, so I could have just thinned them unnecessarily, but this is scary. I think my opponent needs wait, what? Whenever 1 or more counters. Oh my god, I did not realize animation module could target me, and then they just sacrifice it. Yeah, so on that 1 turn, not holding up my Field of Ruin was just a huge error. Huge error on our part. And crazy how the deck just has that backdoor win condition that way. I wonder what we would have drawn. Wall of Omens into Tribelder. Into that, into that, into that. Oh gosh. Yeah, that was an interesting turn. My opponent definitely played to their outs there. They knew we had the Field of Ruins. They would just want to get their infect while they could, and we couldn't deal with this Throne of Geth. Or this animation module. That card is better than I gave it credit for before. So we lost to 2 tier decks. We lost to 1 very untiered deck. But let's go ahead and talk about all that in the closing comments. Thank you all so much for watching this very first episode of the Brew Trials. And stick around for more content in the future, but also stick around for the closing comments in just a second. I'll see you guys soon. Alright, hello everybody, welcome back to the closing comments here in this very first episode of the Brew Trials with GW Emeria. We went 1 and 2, and I have a feeling that, you know, maybe some brews are going to do better than other brews, but most of the time I think the brew session, this Brew Trials, are going to be a time for us to try to not only figure out what went wrong, but also to try to figure out how our deck could perform better against some of the stronger decks in the format. So we know we're not really cracking the format here, but we're brewing up something that's a little different, and we're going to try to see how we can improve our records in the future. So this was GW Emeria. For those of you that maybe didn't watch the matches but are just tuning in for the closing comments, which is absolutely fine. We went 1 and 2. We beat like this Grixis mid-range deck. I don't want to say it was budget. It was probably budget, but it was, you know, kind of this creature-centric version. Had Nicol Bolas the Ravager in it, so maybe it was like, you know, creature mid-range Grixis. It had some glimmer of geniuses and mana leaks and terminates and bolts and stuff like that, so it just seemed like this interesting Grixis mid-range shell, but it definitely looked budget with their mana base. We were able to beat that. We outvalued them both games, which is awesome. Then round 2 we played against red-green Tron, which we lost to in 3 games, so we had a very close game 3 and a very close game 2 and just a not very close game 1. But that's generally how the Tron games go. And then round 3 we played against Hardened Scales Affinity, which in my mind feels like it should be a pretty good matchup, especially considering our main board and sideboard are pretty okay against what they're trying to do. But again, Infect is a very hard axis attack or angle of attack to have to deal with. They attack us from something that is very hard to interact with, and so once those counters are already on us, then it's up to us to shut down the artifacts that keep placing those counters on us, and then we couldn't find those. We couldn't find Oblivion Ring or Stony Silence, and so I thought I had one more turn. In reality, I only had one more turn. So obviously, read your opponent's cards. That's a good lesson as well. Read your opponent's cards. And also, we just didn't play around the worst case scenario. We didn't think about that. We thought, oh, okay, you animate your ink moths, but then we blow them up and we kind of win, right? But we don't. Again, they had ways to proliferate. So we definitely should reassess the board at all points in the game. I did not see that angle of attack, and that's also something you should do. With a brew, you can't lose percentage points for not seeing the lines, because you're already probably losing percentage points for not playing an optimal deck. So when you're brewing, you really got to be on top of your game, and we weren't that game. We probably could have won, but we just, you know, played awkwardly, and we didn't win. So that is quite a shame. But now, let's go ahead and talk about the deck itself. What I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. I think this card, Elvish Rejuvenator, is just mostly, it's a dream. It's a dream. It's like, you look at the top 4 cards, your top 5 cards, like, I don't know, I haven't run the numbers. I wonder if it's worthwhile to run the numbers, but I just think this card whiffs too often. I mean, it whiffed a couple times in these 3 matches, and you just really need a card like this on your turn 3 to not whiff. Possibly Knight of the Reliquary is just a better card to have here, but then we feel like we're a worse green-white shell, so I don't know. I can't tell you. Like Knight of the Reliquary finds us our Emeria, which is pretty sweet, and it also sacrifices this forest, which is quite an annoying card. You know, it helps you to sacrifice it late game once you're trying to set up Emeria to get it to become that plains. So I don't know. Elvish Rejuvenator is sweet in theory. Didn't really pan out for us here today, so I think that's one thing I learned. Another thing I learned, though, is that ramping out your Sun Titans is sweet, so I do like that angle of attack. I think that, you know, you do gain something by going green, and it might not be Elvish Rejuvenator, but Sakura Tribe Elder is fantastic, as is Tireless Tracker, just outvaluing your opponent. Sometimes, you know, you have this mana advantage, but you don't have anything to do with it, so making sure you don't run out of gas, I think, is one of the good things about Tireless Tracker here. This kind of deck might need 4 sweepers, so we might need the 3rd Wrath of God, or maybe like a Settler Wreckage in the main. I don't know, 4 sweepers seems like it's probably necessary, especially if you're on the Sakura Tribe Elder plan. Just maximize your odds of hitting that turn 3 sweeper. But yeah, overall, I think a lot of the deck is doing okay things. Is it better than Blue-White Emeria? Not sure. The fact that we don't have counter magic in the sideboard is rough. You know, we don't have Spreading Seas to double down on this mana denial plan, so it's either Field of Ruin or bust against Tron, whereas with blue-white it's Field of Ruin or Spreading Seas. Yeah, a lot of things going on here that I enjoy, but might not be quite there yet. So I think there's probably the cards that I think are on the chopping block are Gideon. Here, let's make a pile here and make it clear. Probably the cards on the chopping block are Gideon and these Elvish Rejuvenators. Alternatively, I would consider fixing the mana base as well. I think you probably want 25 lands in a deck like this. And you probably want a few more green sources to maximize your ability of turn 2 Secure Tribe Elder, because it's kind of awkward, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 green sources out of 24 to hit your 2-drop. That's definitely not enough. No matter, so you probably need like 6 to 8 fetches in this deck somewhere to consistently do that, or play more Scattered Groves. I don't know what the solution is, but the point is, like, you know, you need sometimes to turn 2 Secure Tribe Elder, and your mana base does not enable that. So how do we fix that? That's a great question. I'm not sure, but it is something to consider. You know, if you're gonna think about brewing more with this deck, or if we ever revisit this for a brew session. Our sideboard, I thought, was actually really on point. I think that was the one thing here that I designed well. It kind of hits all the decks we want to hit. You know, we got tools for Tron, we got tools for graveyard decks, we got tools for aggro decks, we got tools for combo decks. We got tools for, I guess the only thing we're missing is like something for the control matchup. It's really hard to find something that actually beats control, because blue-white miracles, they have Field of Ruins, and then Terminus also is able to deal really efficiently with like hexproof or shroud creatures. So like, even if you want to board in like Tron or Carnage Tyrant even, it's just like not the way to do it. So Planeswalkers might be the way to attack that matchup. Maybe like a Nissa, big Nissa, the 5-mana one that animates forests. Maybe Vivian Reed that digs your deck for more forests, but I don't like for more creatures, but I don't like the fact that her ult doesn't actually impact the board and doesn't beat a Terminus. So I think that's probably why you wouldn't play her, but I think there's things to consider here. You know, you can't rely on Emeria to just lead you through the control matchup. Although Emeria plus Tireless Tracker plus Sun Titan are sometimes enough to overwhelm them, but not always. Not always. All right. I think that's going to be it for today's Brew Trials. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We went 1 and 2. You know, that's not a fantastic record. It's not a positive record, but it's a record nonetheless, and I think we learned some things today. So I think this series is definitely going to be targeted more towards maybe players who are more casual, more on a budget, or players who are just willing to explore the modern format in both good and bad ways. So hopefully you enjoyed this series. This is, you know, not going to take away any time from me playing actual tiered decks in Modern. So if you watch me for my, you know, Mardu Pyromancer videos or my Jeskai Sahili videos, which are, you know, competitive decks in Modern, there's still going to be more of that. Don't worry about the competitive Modern videos, but I just want to expand and you know, attack or fill different gaps in Modern MTG content. And I think this is something that will be good for my channel overall. But you guys can let me know. Do you enjoy this? Do you not enjoy this? Take it casually. Don't worry that it's gonna take up, you know, time away from me to make content that you do enjoy. But do let me know if, you know, you feel like I'm making content that's not relevant to you. And along with that, let me know what content you think is relevant to you. I can't please everybody. I can't make content every day, but I can definitely prioritize the content that I do make. So let me know. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. I had fun. Again, take this Brew Trials as a more casual deck building experience. And if you have suggestions for the deck, obviously, please make them heard. I am all ears, 100%. So thank you so much for watching this very first episode of the Brew Trials, and stay tuned for more content coming up soon.